Hey guys, so this is my dad, Roy. Yes, that is Roy. um, and I asked him to come live with me because I have had on my heart for years and years and years. I just have always felt like his story and our story, our family story, and the story of Sierra Leone needs to be shared. And so this is going to be just like a little snippet of hopefully a journey that's going to continue for Lord knows how long it's going to take for this story to be told, because we're only going to bring it in little tiny bits of story. But I grew up in Sierra Leone. You guys know that. My parents were missionaries for 22 and a half years. And I love the saying that you can take a girl out of Africa, but you can't take the Africa out of the girl. I am African through and through. And my heart has been for Sierra Leone forever. And I asked my dad if we could go on a journey and just start sharing some of the stories for a couple of reasons. I want my kids to have these stories, and there are some of the stories that I'm even forgetting. Like, actually, we were just talking a little bit ago and he was telling me parts of stories. I'm like, that happened? And it's just so exciting to see like the adventures. Like, it's an adventure. But I want my kids to have them. I want to have them. I want my grandkids to have them. And instead of us just enjoying this little journey, I think it is going to be so fun to bring anyone who wants to go on this journey with us. And for you to get to experience like some of the crazy things that a lot of people will never get to experience. Some of them really, really hard. Some of them amazing. And but I'm super grateful for all of it. And I just thought it would be kind of fun to start, well, not fun, kind of emotional. We already talked about this and cried, but emotional to start at the end, because they were there for 22 and a half years, and leaving Sierra Leone was probably the most traumatic time of my life ever. Like, it's still what makes me cry every time. And so I can't imagine as a child like how hard it was for me, what it had to be for him, because he had invested his life into these people and into this country. It was his passion. I mean, he loved, and still does love Sierra Leone. And so what was it like? 23 churches planted, 2 agricultural farms. We'd be at the pig farms playing. I got to bring home a baby pig like Wilbur once. We had a pineapple plantation, just all of these things. We were talking about starting a fish hatchery, just all these things to help equip these people to have everything they needed to be self-sustaining, and Bible Institute, little elementary schools, just lots of investment into a country that when you left, everything was being destroyed. And you're getting to leave a country where you can't take the people you love with you. Like, what was that like? Because I know what it was like for me, and it was hard. I can't even imagine. So we left, and he stayed. So what was that like for you, saying goodbye to that after 22 and a half years?
The toughest time probably in my life. And I'll never forget it, the last days in Sierra Leone. We had gone down to the capital city to fly Kathy and the kids home. It was very dangerous. The airport, in fact, was supposed to be taken over by the rebels very, very soon. I wanted to get them out of the country. I had to stay. I just had to turn over the work to the Nationals. We got separated because of the war. I'd come down to send them, and then I couldn't get back up country because of the attacks that were taking place along the road by the rebels. And so I decided to fly them out of the country. Did that the last day of December 1994, and it was very emotional at the airport, saying goodbye to them, and my wife will share some of that later on. After I flew them out of the country, I went back to the mission house where I was staying, and had a ham radio, so I was able to talk to the Nationals up country, and I was trying to work out a time for me to go up there to hand over the work and everything. And 4 times we tried to work out arrangements to go up, and each time there were ambushes on the road where there would be convoys going up country that you never used to try. You shouldn't have traveled by yourself. They made you travel in convoys, and they would be attacked by rebels and just killed them. And I remember the last time I set a date, I was going to go up that week, and one of my good friends, a national friend, was coming down. They ambushed his vehicle, killed him, and threw acid, took the battery acid and poured it on his face, and it was in the newspaper in the capital city, and that was when my heart was broken, and I decided it was not good for me to go up country. And so we radioed up, and I told our national leader, Daniel John, with our driver, to come down. I said, don't bring the rest of them. It's too much of a gamble. Just, if you can, you feel safe to come down, come on down. You kind of know the situation up there better than I do. And if it doesn't work out, I handed over things to them on the radio and told them they knew who was in charge. But I wanted to do it officially. And so it just didn't work out. And so we set that date for them to come down. I'll never forget, I was at the house. They were supposed to be there early afternoon. Early afternoon came, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, still nobody. I'm very anxious. I'm praying, God, let them be safe, let them be safe, let them get there. 6 o'clock, pound on the steel door. I'm so excited, I believe it's them. I run down. There's a big wall around the house where I was staying. I open the door, and just one of our national leaders there, one of our pastors, and Samuel, he said to me, Pa, the vehicles broke down. There's 25 of us up there. We're all coming to say goodbye to them. I'm going, no, no, no. And it broke down. Oh.
He specifically said just one or two of you guys come, because he didn't want the whole national leadership team being like taken out.
So I said,
stuck.
why? And they said, Pa, we couldn't let you leave without saying goodbye. And if we have to die doing this, we'll die. I thought, oh, dear God, no, 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 no. So we got in the van, got our tools, and I started heading up country. All I could remember was the words of my wife as I knew the last checkpoint of the Army. After we passed that checkpoint, it was darkness. Almost all the villages have been evacuated. We're in the capital city. 4/5 of the population was in the capital city. Now, you couldn't hardly move down there. It was so terrible. And so I left that last checkpoint. All I could see was darkness, and I'm thinking, dear God, my wife, her last words were, you will not be happy until you shed your blood in Sierra Leone. I'm thinking, dear God, don't let this happen. And so we're journeying just a little ways out from there.
This is my first day to hear this story. I forgot about this story. I'm like, this happened? You went up there?
So only got just a little bit out of from the checkpoint when we saw the orange lights of the truck coming. And I knew it was ours. It was all lit up. And I thought, wow. And so they came, and we stopped on the road there. We flashed our lights. They flashed their lights, and we stopped, and we hugged. 25 of these nationals. We're just crying, and we're so happy and hugging each other. And we hadn't seen each other in over a month, and talked every day on the radios, but hadn't seen him. We went back to the house where I was staying and stayed up all night and shared stories and talked. We handed over everything, the keys, and set in order who was going to be in charge of the mission, and just handed over everything to them. So that was a moment of just, I felt like the Lord just, when he's meeting with his disciples the last time and he's saying, this is what I want you to do, guys, and you're in charge now, and please carry on the work as best you can. I'll be praying for you, believing God. And they were just encouraging me to leave the country. They wanted me to get me out of the country because they knew how dangerous it was going to be.
It was even more dangerous for foreigners in the country. Yeah, it was. You know, I mean, it was dangerous in general, but for a foreigner in the country, we loved him.
So it was a very emotional experience, and I'll never forget that night. And the next morning, we got together, all of us. We went over to the ferry, and I got on the ferry. They're in the vehicle parked down there with 25 of them, and I'll never forget them waving. I was on the top of the ferry and waving goodbye to them, and everyone was looking at me. I was crying. It was hard to just go back to tears. As I waved to them, I just felt, will I ever see them again? What's going to happen? This was nothing but bloodshed. We've seen heads cut off. We've seen horrible piles of bodies that had been burnt. It was unbelievable sights to watch the last few weeks we were in the country, and I just wondered what's going to happen. Flew home. Came home, and we flew in to, I think it was in Canada where I flew into, and the family drove up there to receive me. We was going to travel back down, and we stopped at a buffet to eat that evening. It was late that evening. Went in and was getting food and filling up our plates, and we were so happy to be together. It was emotional, but at the same time happy to be together. Everybody's laughing and talking around the tables there and around the atmosphere, and I was filling up my plate at the buffet. When I just broke down and started crying. I kept thinking, dear God, if only all this food and all this peace and love and joy, and if only they could realize, these people, what's going on in Sierra Leone right now. And I could hardly eat. I lost my appetite. And I thought, dear God, what's going to happen in Sierra Leone? And
so, obviously you can tell from that answer, it's very emotional, leaving Sierra Leone. Hardest thing probably our whole family had to do. And so next time, what we're gonna have Dad share is what it was like, okay, after being gone for 21 years?
Yeah,
21 years being gone. And because of the war, I mean, and it only got worse, communication was very, very limited and almost no communication. So very little communication over that time. So what was that like? Going back now to Sierra Leone after 21 years and not knowing what to expect when you go back. And you guys, that story, this one was emotional. That one is even, I feel like, more emotional. And I just want you guys to continue this journey with us. And so that's what you guys are going to get to hear next time. And I'm grateful you guys are going to get to hear from my mom. You'll get to hear, I'm sure, from my brothers and my sister, and just different outlooks on different times of our life in Sierra Leone. And so yeah, you guys watch us, pray for Sierra Leone. It's still a country that has a lot of need, and we're just excited to tell the story and just, yeah, bring you guys along on this journey with us. So thank you. Thanks,
God bless.
Dad.